guys, it's Jessica from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with a video of one of my favorite kinds of romances. I don't know if I would consider it a subgenre, but it's definitely the vibe of a book, and that is angsty romances. I love angst. Put my characters through the ringer, make them hate each other but love each other, and things in life or other people pull them apart and make it impossible for them to be together. I am obsessed with that kind of romance. I've loved angst since I started reading, basically, and if you've watched my channel for a while, you know how obsessed I am with angst. If a book is just like super sweet and they get together and that's it, I get bored. I'm like, I need the drama and the tension and just the angst of these characters where you feel so much emotion for them. And now a lot of my friends have already done this video and I felt left out because I love angst. I just have a hard time putting these videos together for some reason because I feel like, well, it's angsty to me. Is it going to be angsty to other people? But I decided to just sit down and film this video. I have 10 recs. I will link all of my friends' videos down below. I'm pretty sure McKay, Sam, Tori, and Cheyenne recently did this video, so I will link all of their videos down below if you want even more angsty romances. And now this is definitely inspired by a book that we've all read and loved, which I will talk about later, but I do want to start with an author who is like the queen of angst, but to me her old stuff is super angsty. And so I know I've done this video before years ago, some of these might have been on there, but to me her two most angsty books are these. We're talking about Candy Steiner. I definitely love Candy's older books better than what she's been writing now. I feel like when she first started writing, her angst was just through the roof. Now, the book I loved was A Love Letter to Whiskey. I'm scared to reread this because I read this so long ago. This came out in 2016 and I read it either in 2016 or 2017. It's been about 5 years since I read this book and I love the fact that so many people are picking it up again. So if you love angst, this is like hardcore. You want to throw this book across the room. You get so angry with these characters and the choices they make, but it's always like right person, wrong time. At first the hero is dating the heroine's best friend and then things just like spiral from there. They really hurt each other and I just remember feeling so many emotions reading this, but like needing them to be together, and that is a good angsty romance to me when I'm reading it and I get so frustrated with the characters and I like literally want to throw this book across the room. I've only had a couple of books do that to me and another one's in this video, but when it makes me want to do that, I know it's angsty and I love it still. And so I love the characters, I love their journey, and I'm obsessed with them. That makes a good angsty romance. That's really all I want to tell you about the synopsis of this book because first of all, it's been like 5 years since I've read it, so I need to reread it. But second of all, because I don't want to spoil anything, I want you to really go in and get the full effect. Also, a bunch of Candy's books are on sale right now, so the special edition of this that has the hero's point of view, like 5 extra chapters I think, is only like $18 right now, and I bought it for over $30, so that's definitely going to be linked down below. If you are interested in buying her books, they are all on sale for the month of September, so check them out. The other super angsty book by Candy that I think that she has not achieved since she wrote this duet is the What He Doesn't Know duet by Candy Steiner, and these are a love triangle, and it is between a woman and her husband and someone from the woman's past. Now, trigger warnings for talk of miscarriage and trouble conceiving because this couple definitely goes through that, but the heroine and the hero are at a place where they are not communicating very well in the relationship, and the heroine is just feeling not loved anymore, and a guy from her past comes back in town and he is now teaching at the same school that she does, and he I think was a little older than her when they were in like growing up in high school, and they never really had a shot, but she always had a thing for him, and then now he is there and he is like, I want you, and if your husband's not going to show you what it's like to be in a relationship with you, I will. And so there is cheating in here, there's very messy and very angsty, and I think the angst also comes in the fact that it's a love triangle and you do not know who she's going to pick. So I remember reading these as they were coming out. I didn't even have book 2 yet when I was reading these, and I was like, I don't know who she's gonna pick, I need to know. And so they did release pretty quickly after one another, so I was able to read the next one, and I remember like it was a huge deal not knowing. Do not read the synopsis of book 3 because book 3 does follow the person who is not chosen, and even if you read like tropes, it'll ruin it. My friend Tori from Novel Life accidentally saw the trope of book 3 and that completely spoiled who she chose at the end of these, but going in completely not knowing just makes the experience so much more angsty and emotional, and you get very frustrated with these characters, but you love them. So please read them. Of course I had to have a Catherine Cowles book in one of these videos, and the one I'm going to pick is one of my favorite tropes to read that is super angsty, and so that is Reckless Memories. This is book 1 in the series, so you can just go ahead and pick this one up. I am currently on book 4 though, and it's definitely my favorite of the series, Reckless Refuge. I am like 2 hours left of the audiobook and I'm so obsessed. So in this one, the hero and the heroine are in high school and in the beginning, and the hero is dating the heroine's sister. They get into a car accident, the heroine's sister dies, and the hero and the heroine are both horrified that that would happen, and the heroine has already kind of had a crush on her sister's boyfriend, and so there's like those kind of lingering feelings there. But then the hero is so torn up over what happened, he immediately leaves town. He sets up in like LA or something, and he ends up having these really amazing restaurants, and he's doing very successful for himself. And so fast forward like 10 years, and the heroine is working at the hero's family's bar in their hometown, which is a very small town, and they are struggling, but that is like her livelihood. She loves it. She's so passionate about it. She's redone everything, and the hero is asked by his family to come back and help them like have a more successful business since he has done so well in California. So he's back, and they have to confront old feelings, and he pretty much abandoned the heroine. She was severely injured in the accident, and he didn't know, and he just left. And so she feels like he abandoned her, and obviously society's gonna have something to say. Their small town is gonna be like, well, he was with the sister, and if they got together that would be super taboo, and he has to deal with the guilt of, I didn't even think that she was my forever person, but now that she's gone, I feel guilty like trying to move on and like, you know, look through that whole kind of situation that had happened to them. And so it was definitely very, very angsty, and they had to worry about what other people thought about them. I love this book. Please check out Catherine Cowles. This one is probably one of her angstiest that I've read. One that I'm actually currently reading, and I was coming with books for this video, and I was like, this feels so angsty right now, and it's because the characters don't know what they want, and they are exploring it, and they are not sure how to feel about it. So that is Give Me More by Sarah Kate. I'm about 50% into the ebook, and I'm just like obsessed with the emotions these characters are going through and how they don't know what to do. So this revolves around a couple and their best friend. So I don't know what this classifies as genre-wise because I don't know what the ending is going to be, but the hero and heroine have been together since college, but the hero's best friend, they've been best friends their entire lives. Like, they don't even remember life without one another. And so the hero and heroine, they end up getting married, and they've been married for 10 years now, and that is Hunter and Isabel, and Drake is their best friend. Drake has been around all the time. Drake and Hunter own a club exploring your different desires, and so they are now on a road trip visiting other clubs around the country to see what they would want to do with their club. And the Hunter realizes that he might be into something in his marriage involving Drake, and he decides to ask his wife and Drake if they'd be interested in exploring that. And so Drake, though, has had some kind of feelings for Hunter for a while, and Hunter does not know what he's felt for Drake. Hunter is married and is happily married, happily in love, but they both are kind of feeling a certain way for Drake. It's very angsty because these characters all care about each other so much, and they don't want to hurt their relationship whatsoever. It is so special to them, but they know they want more, but they don't know what that is or where their limits are or what everybody else in this relationship wants. And so far, like, it's so angsty because they're kind of testing their boundaries and testing their limits, and Hunter especially is like, I've never wanted this before, but he only wants it with Drake. And so I really love them exploring this relationship together, and I'm super excited to finish this book. I mean, it's Sarah Kate. Praise is one of my favorite books of the year, so I know I'm gonna end up loving this, whatever the ending is, but so far super angsty, so I had to include it in this video. Then I have Ivy by Will and Ash, which is Devney Perry's pen name. This one's super angsty because we have 3 separate romances happening, and they are all very angsty. So we have 3 girls in college, and 2 of them are really rich. They're friends, but like more like frenemies. They're like really, really close, but they're not like best friends. It's hard to explain. And so then they invite the other girl to stay with them who is struggling with money. She puts everything towards school, and she sees it's really affordable. She moves in, and they're like, oh good, a new plaything. Like, we are gonna make your life miserable. And the girl is just like, I don't know what you mean and what you want to do, but I just need to pass college. And so they go through their lives, and they're like really, really, really rich, these other 2 girls are, and it has to do with their relationships with 3 different men, and all the men are kind of intertwined in their lives. So one is is one of the girl's brothers ends up with one of her roommates, and the girl's brother's best friend ends up with the girl, and then another brother ends up coming in the picture. And so a lot of them are very forbidden romances, very angsty. One of them's an age gap and they've had a physical relationship in the past, but one of them wants more, the other one doesn't, and the other one doesn't want to step on her roommate's toes by falling for a brother because she's been told he's off limits. And it's just a lot of forbiddenness going on and not wanting to betray anybody even though you're not really that close with them. So it's so entertaining and so good. There's just so much going on in this book, and even though it's super long, I still really enjoyed it. I give it 5 stars, so definitely check this out. I do have a historical for this list, and that is Nobody's Duke by, I don't remember the author. I'm blanking on the author's name, Scarlett Scott? Maybe? This one's very angsty because it's a second chance romance, and the hero and the heroine fell in love, and we get flashbacks to when they're falling in love in their past, when they were really young, and they are torn apart, and they both are very resentful over the fact that they were torn apart and blame each other for it. So now the heroine is a widow, and she lost her husband because someone had murdered him, and she is next. So her life is in danger, and her son's life is in danger, and her son is 8, and she's only been married for 8 years, and so the son is the other guy's son. So the guy from her past got her pregnant, but then they were torn apart. She got married and had the baby, and she acted as if her new husband was the father. So it was a secret, and the hero learns that it's his son. We learn very quickly on that it is his son, and so there's a lot of angst there where she has raised this child as someone else's son and never gave the other guy a chance. He is now hired as her bodyguard because I believe he works for like some really important people, and he is assigned to protect her, and it's super angsty. They're really mad to be around each other, but they have undeniable chemistry, and not too much happened like super plot wise, which is what the one thing I really wanted more from this book, but the romance was very angsty. It gives you again the magic vibes. They were just torn apart from one another for a specific reason. Neither one of them had the right idea of what actually happened, so they have to confront that and fall in love again, and it was so good. I highly recommend this one. I will go ahead and talk about the one that I know is one you guys are tired of hearing about, but Magnolia Parks is so angsty that this is one of the few books that I have read that I literally wanted to chuck it across the room when I was done with it. I was like, are you kidding me? These characters are toxic, they are messy, and they really like to play with each other's heads, and hearts. This is BJ and Magnolia. They have been dating for a long time, and then BJ cheats on Magnolia. They are like soulmates. They know they're the ones meant to be with each other, but BJ cheated. They broke up. Magnolia has just been dating. She's a serial dater, and she will make these guys fall in love with her, and BJ is a serial hookup person. I don't even know what you would call it. He just hooks up with everybody. Anybody and everybody he'll hook up with, and it'll be in front of Magnolia. She will know what's going on. She will see them getting together, and it really hurts her. And so it's them just being in the same social circle. There's no plot to this. They are rich. They go out all the time. BJ buys her a ton of stuff to make up for what he does. They still like sleep in each other's arms because they can't stay away from each other, but then Magnolia starts dating someone else. Kind of fake dating, but then it kind of turns into real feelings, and there's just a lot that happens in here. So many people get hurt. You do not understand why these characters do what they do. They get so frustrating to you, and they self-sabotage, and you just get so angry, but it's so angsty, and you just still want them to be together. Even though they hurt each other so much, you're like, you're meant to be, just be together. It's so good. I've only read book 1, but I'm dying to get to their second book, so read this if you haven't yet. Then I have Garnet Flats by Devney Perry. This one's book 3, and I definitely think it's the angstiest. I know Tori said book 2 is really angsty, which it is, but I feel like this one is even more so because it's a second chance romance. Our heroine and hero were dating when they were in college, and the heroine was moving to like Washington or something, and they were living in Vegas. The hero is a UFC fighter, and they were madly in love, and right before she was supposed to leave, he breaks up with her and marries her best friend. He said, I'm in love with your best friend, I'm marrying her. She is utterly broken, and she spends the next like 8 years just not dating anybody, and she's like, I can never trust again, and she moves back to her hometown, and she has her life there, and he shows up. He is divorcing his wife, and he is like, I'm winning you back. She cannot trust him, but they have explosive chemistry, and he is determined to win her back. He will not leave her alone, but not in like a creepy way, more in like, I love you, and I'm gonna show you I love you, and I know you want me. And she does, but she is so heartbroken, and how could you forgive someone who did that? Like, who does that? Who breaks up without someone and marries their best friend, then comes back and says, I want you? Like, We learn more about what happened in the past. I do think she forgave a couple characters a little too easily because of what happened. I'm like, there could have been a way out of some things, but overall, really, really love this one. I think it was super angsty. I give it 5 stars. I was obsessed. Then another one, I was thinking about what I wanted to include in this video, and I was like, I definitely felt angst reading this, and that's why I loved it so much, and that is The Air by Sophie Lark. This one is angsty because other characters sabotage their relationship, and you're just like, just be together already, like do not care about these characters. So the hero and the heroine have been best friends their entire lives. Their families are super close and they're going to this school that is like for mafia children, and they end up going and they go together, they do everything together, and there's this kind of like line where they're like, I think we want to be something more, but they haven't done it yet. But as soon as they get to this school, something happens where the heroine thinks the hero betrayed her and that they can never be together. She believes that he was with someone else. There were other circumstances that had happened, so trigger warnings for sexual assault in here, but what happens is a different guy who hates Leo's guts makes a move on the heroine, and they kind of start dating because she feels betrayed by him, and the whole book goes on with her trying to date someone else and him pining after her and not understanding what happened, and they are constantly sabotaged by other people trying to break them up and be with them. Other people really want to be with them and drive them apart, and it's so frustrating as a reader, and you just want them to be together, and the pining is so angsty, like you know they're really into each other and you just get so frustrated. But also there's so much action in here. There's a lot of challenges at the school because they're broken up onto teams, and I just really like this. I definitely consider it angsty. You should definitely read this series. And the last one I have is Tin Queen by Devney Perry. This is the last book. I think they are all read better in order, but I know my friends have read them out of order and they had no problem. This is the book 6 in the Clifton Forge series. It's an MC series. It is a disbanded MC and their rival like MC that is actually still around. MC is Motorcycle Club, so there's been this rivalry that's brewing the entire series, and the rivals end up going to jail, and the heroine, her father is the president of like the bad MC, and so she's super angry and she's like, I'm going to take down the men of the MC that ruined my father. So she decides to go to Clifton Forge, track down Emmett, who is, she believes, as one of the main people who destroyed her family, and decides to seduce him and like literally sleep with the enemy so she can tear him down. They start a physical relationship and they start falling really hard for each other. They have really a lot of feelings for one another, and she finds it harder and harder to not share things with him, and it's definitely super angsty on her part because she is so angry with him and hates his guts, but she's starting to really like him, and she's like, he destroyed my family. How can I betray my family by falling for this guy? And he's always been a loner and he loves his alone time. He loves just like sleeping with someone, going home and being alone, but he's seeing all of his friends all married with children and he feels that kind of family with them and he wants his own. And so it's super angsty with both of them, and they obviously fall for each other, but they have to figure out the drama with the MC and her father, and so many secrets are revealed in this book. It's a great conclusion to the series. Definitely my favorite of the series, and I just really liked it. I love the fact that they were like literal enemies and she was trying to take him down. One of my other favorite tropes is when they try to get closer to the other person to destroy their lives and fall in love in the process. And those are all the books that I think are super angsty that you need to check out if you are a fan of angst as well. Please let me know your angsty romance recommendations. I need more in my life. I love them so much, especially on the level of I want to throw this book across the room and destroy it because the characters are so frustrating, but I want them to be happy. So let me know your recommendations, and that's all I have. As always, thank you so much for watching and have a good day. Bye.